Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into an incredible collection of ancient verses. Basically, a guide to mastering your own mind that's been around for over 2,000 years. It's called the Dhammipada, which translates to the path of virtue.
So let's just jump right in with a big question. What if you could actually master your own mind? Tame the chaos, find that focus, and literally build your reality from the inside out.
It's a feeling we all know, right? In our world of constant pings, dings, and just endless noise, we're all looking for a little bit of inner peace. Well, for thousands of years, one slim little book of verses has been pointing the way.
All right, our first section gets right to the absolute core of this whole philosophy, the idea that you are the architect of your own reality.
These are the very first words of the Dhammipada, and wow, they are bombshell. Just take a second with that. Everything you are, everything you experience, it all begins right up here, in your mind.
So this breaks that huge idea down into a really simple but incredibly powerful sequence. First comes the thought. Then, that thought colors how you see the world. It literally shapes your reality. And only then, after all that, do you act. This puts all the responsibility and all the power squarely on the quality of our own thinking. Okay, so if thought is that important, how in the world do you cultivate the right ones? Well, that brings us right to our next section, walking the path of virtue. At a time when philosophy in India could be really complex and kind of out there, the Dhammipada showed up as something radically different. It's not a dense theoretical book. Think of it more like a practical handbook, almost a field guide for living an ethical and mindful life, all told through these powerful, easy-to-remember verses.
And this is a brilliant illustration of the core practice. While the full Buddhist teaching has a detailed eightfold path, the Dhammipada just boils it down to the essentials. It all starts with clear understanding, then purifying your intentions, which then leads to ethical action. But that last point, that's the real kicker. And it's a direct quote, "You yourself must make the effort." The teachers can only point the way. You're the one who has to do the walking.
And here's the crucial thing. When you strip it all down, the entire path can be summed up right here. Avoid harm, actively do good, and, most importantly, work on purifying your own mind. This simple three-part instruction, that's presented as the core teaching of all the awakened ones, or Buddhas.
Now, an idea this powerful isn't going to stay in one place for long. So let's move on and see how this one philosophy created a little ripple that turned into a huge wave across an entire continent. This timeline just shows an incredible journey. It starts in India, way back around the 3rd century BCE. But these teachings didn't need armies to spread. Nope, they traveled with monks and merchants along the famous Silk Road, eventually reaching China, and from there, spreading into Korea and Japan, weaving themselves into the very fabric of those cultures.
And that's the big takeaway here. We're not talking about some obscure, dusty text. This small collection of sayings offered a direct, personal path to wisdom that just clicked with millions of people, and it ended up profoundly shaping the art, the ethics, and the worldview of so much of Asia.
Which brings us right up to the present. How does all this ancient wisdom hold up in our modern digital world? Let's take a look. This is so cool because it really connects the dots. That ancient principle of restraint and self-control, well, today we just call it emotional intelligence. The call for meditation and reflection, that's pretty much the foundation of the whole mindfulness movement. And the idea of detachment from constant desire, hello, that's the essence of a digital detox or self-care. It's almost like we've just created new labels for timeless wisdom. Here's another really powerful verse. It draws a super stark line in the sand. Earnestness, which really just means mindful, conscious effort, is the path to immortality or nirvana. The opposite, thoughtlessness, just living on autopilot, is described as a kind of spiritual death. I mean, the stakes couldn't be higher. And so we're going to leave you with this question to chew on. In our age, an age that's basically defined by distraction and mental clutter, could this 2,500-year-old guide to training our attention and purifying our thoughts be not just relevant, but maybe more essential than ever before?
This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.